Hi everyone, Jeremy here, Modern Vitality. Today's video is how to help digestive issues from complex chronic health conditions. What's a complex chronic health condition? Well, if you're on this channel, you're probably familiar, right? We've got fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, adrenal fatigue. Now there's long haulers, right? This is a new one, but it's still the same type of mechanism in the body. There's reactivated Epstein-Barr, chronic Lyme disease, candida, mold, mycotoxin exposure, EMF sensitivity. There's a ton of this stuff, right? It's on the rise in modern society. It's my mission to help people figure out how to handle these complex problems. And I've found, after doing this for many, many years, that the best way to do it is to have extremely expanded awareness of the whole system nature of our body. Meaning, if we dial in and we go, okay, I'm having digestive symptoms amongst a sea of other things, right? Like brain fog, exhaustion, weird pains, wandering pains, anxiety, some depression, libido changes, sleep trouble, insomnia, like all this stuff, and digestion. And we look at that like it's all separate, these little piles of problems. And then we try to treat each pile separately. You're going to wind up with a drawer full of supplements that you're standing over for 40 minutes a day, just standing there thinking, which one should I take today, right? You got to figure that out. You're chasing symptoms. You're susceptible to marketing every time some brand new silver bullet, new supplement gets invented or discovered or some super herb or whatever. You're wishing and praying, hoping that's going to be the one, right? Instead, and we're going to be talking about digestive problems, but instead, what if we took all of that and we started to discover the webs and the interconnectedness, and we start to respect the dynamic nature of your body, and we start to look at symptoms as not a problem to be suffocated and smothered back and opposed and suppressed, but instead we look at symptoms as messages. How is your body speaking to you in the only language it knows, right? Through symptoms. If you're constipated or have diarrhea or bloating, or you're getting heartburn, reflux, low appetite, or if we find out you've got leaky gut or malabsorption, low digestive enzymes, right? What do these things mean? What is that telling us about the whole system? So in this video, we're going to take a look at that, and not only in the context of digestion, but also how we look at other systems of the body, for example, the immune system. This way, you're not just chasing symptoms. You can actually start to get to the roots, right? The multiple roots of what's going on and go systematically so you can actually feel better. All right, let's get started. So within the context of any inflammatory type condition, the gut, the digestion, it's going to play a part. There are some schools of thought who say, oh, the gut health, right? It's the root of all illness. It's the be all end all, right? This is the whole thing. What I'm going to say right now, this is going to be controversial. I'm probably going to get in trouble, right, with some of my colleagues or peers, right? But I owe it to everyone to say what I see. And that is that we can get very pigeonholed, patients and practitioners both. We can get very pigeonholed and very excited and very tempted and lured by reductionist thinking. Meaning, when we find something that's significant, it's way too easy to start to think that's the only thing that matters. Okay? We get tunnel vision. And the gut is one of those things. It's insanely significant. It's wildly significant. The more we learn, science-wise, right? Science is catching up to tradition now. I feel like a lot of the Eastern medicine and a lot of the natural health people, and especially people who study ancient traditions of diet, living, medicine, all that, there are things that we just kind of know, right? That now science is actually catching up and validating, which is very cool. And digestive health is a big deal, right? It's the core, it's the center, right, of your body. This is where you get your nutrients from, of course, but also there's a huge immune component, right? There's also the gut-brain axis, so there's a neurological component. It's connected. Does that make it the root of all illness? I'm not sure, right? It's certainly one of the major players. It's one of the usual suspects, right? But let's not get distracted by that. And we always need to be able to zoom in and then zoom back out, because otherwise we're going to miss the bigger picture. So digestion is very important. However, the common strategy with digestive problems is to treat the digestive system, right? And I know this sounds like straightforward. And Jeremy, why are you telling me this counterintuitive stuff, right? Of course, if there's digestive problems, you need to treat the digestive system. However, I would offer you one thing to think about is that if that was going to work, it would have worked. Okay, that's the common response, both practitioners and patients alike, is to start to do the obvious thing, right? I have digestive issues, so let's do some digestive support. Okay, makes sense, sounds good. I do that too, right? There is a layer of thinking beyond that where we, instead of working directly, digestion on digestion, we actually work obliquely. Meaning, if you've been around my world at all, then you've heard me say this, and I'm going to say it 10,000 more times. Immune system, digestive system, neuroadrenal, blood circulation, right? And then we have things like hormones and deficiencies, okay? But these first four are the most important. Immune system is stage 1. Digestive system is stage 2. Neuroadrenal, stage 3. Blood circulation, stage 4. Your body works like a combination lock. When you want to heal, there is an order that you must do the approach, right? Your body doesn't want things out of order. I've got a million examples of this. When you skip steps or go out of order, there's like all kinds of weird problems that happen, and it creates conditions for more complications down the line. So the first step, immune system, okay? What's the immune system got to do with the gut? I'm having digestive problems. Well, if you're having digestive problems within the context of a chronic inflammatory condition, right, which is like what we talk about here at this channel and in my world, then it's worth mentioning that the best thing to do is get the immune system dialed in first, so that you're not having an inflamed gut. Because if you're feeding yourself, you can feed yourself all the probiotics you want. You can feed yourself all the digestive enzymes you want. You can do all the coffee enemas you want, right? All this stuff is great. You can eat sauerkraut. You can do, all like whatever enema, whatever fiber you want to take. It doesn't matter, right? You can do all those things. Sure. Great. But if you want to have a really big impact, you need to start to change the underlying conditions of your digestive system. And that starts with the immune system because they're interfaced. If you've got an immune system that's chasing hidden pathogens constantly and you're constantly inflamed, right? What's that doing to the lining of the gut? How's that going to work? If you've got all this dysbiosis there where you've got all these pathogens that are getting out of hand and the immune system kind of can't keep up, can't handle it, and you throw more probiotics at it, to try to like replace it with good guys. But the good guys don't have a hospitable place to live, or you're not eating the right things to feed them, right? Or there's just so much inflammation from these pathogens that have already kind of taken over, like the mob or something established and just like violently opposing the new ones. The probiotics, you might as well flush them straight down the toilet. So think about this in terms of cultivating an environment, right? If you were going to plant, this is one of the best analogies I've ever heard from this. If you're going to plant grass, right, you can throw all the grass seed you want on an asphalt parking lot, but you're not going to have a nice lawn, right? Because it's inhospitable conditions. What are the conditions for our digestive tract? Well, let's start looking at the immune condition first. If we can get some of that smoldering heat out of the body, if we can get some of these pathogens down, then the natural, healthy microorganisms and probiotics will have a better chance to exist. And you can start to cultivate this space naturally through foods without needing a ton of supplements, right? Think about that. How do we do that? Well, there's all kinds of different methods. I'm really biased towards Chinese herbs. That's one of the ways, that I have a strong background in this. It's one of the ways that I see medicine, right, is through herbs and herbology and being a clinical herbalist, right? But there are other ways to do it. The main thing is look at this strategy and go, okay, first, immune system. We need to get whatever these inflammatory triggers are, we need to get that handled. And yes, sometimes food allergies are a component. Yes, I know there's going to be somebody thinking that, right? Yeah, but it's the food allergies because it's leaky gut and that's what's setting off the immune system. Yes, sometimes it works both ways, right? But in that case where there's a vicious cycle, you have to start somewhere. And the best place to start is getting the immune system dialed in. So once you do that, then you're going to have less reactivity, and then maybe you have a chance for the inflammation to heal, and then you won't have the permeability between the tight junctions in the gut in the first place. So immune system, then we have digestive system, right? Obviously, that's where most people start. Most people start on stage 2 if they have digestive problems, but really you should start at stage 1. That's why it's stage 1. And then we have the third one is neuroadrenal. Now this is where we deal with all the stress. This is where we deal with how our nervous system handles the unpleasantries, right, of daily existence. Because what good is it to go straight after your digestive system, right, and get that working pretty well when we still have this sympathetic overload where we're clenched up tight? Because our body can't do both. We can't have healthy digestion and be all clenched up tight at the same time. It's not going to work. So again, you can eat all the probiotics you want, you can do all the enzymes you want, you can do whatever for your digestion. And if you haven't started to affect your nervous system, haven't started to train it using things like HRV, for example, or even more specific breathing exercises that are structured for that exact purpose, for the gasotransmitter exchange. If you don't have a handle on what your nitric oxide levels are and how to adjust that in your body, again, herbs, breath work, that can help, right? Different types of foods. There are a lot of ways you can interface with this. You're going to need new mental models. You're going to need new ways to understand your boundaries and conflict with other people and how to do mental jujitsu and emotional jujitsu, right? Where you don't let things come in and stick. You know what's not your problem and you're able to get out of the way of it. There are a lot of skills that need to be developed. Relaxation practices, special self-care techniques, right? These kinds of things are important. It'll help train your nervous system. You get a new default. Instead of being so clenched up, now you can expand and breathe, and there's a little more space in your life. That helps your digestion significantly because now there's more blood flow going to the organs. Because when we're in fight or flight mode, right, that's not rest and digest time. That's stress time. The blood flow gets constricted. The nerves change how they're signaling, right? It's very difficult for your body, no matter how many probiotics, no matter how many digestive supplements, no matter how many superfoods, whatever you're doing, right? It's very hard to get that when the power to the digestive system is basically turned down or off due to stress. So there's at least the first three: immune, digestion, and then neuroadrenal, okay, in that order. And then number 4, blood circulation, right? Again, this is important. Has a lot to do, it kind of relies on number 3 because of the way our nervous system is wired. What's really, really cool with this is that if you start at the beginning, you can actually create leverage so that each stage supports the next and makes your job easier. So if you've gotten to the point where your nervous system is more calm, right? You have what they call vagal tone, which means that you're able to drop into parasympathetic mode a lot more easily, right? And you don't hold on to stressors and all that. Then you're having a physiological change where now your blood is being redirected automatically. You're getting more blood flow to those digestive organs, which is really great because that means you're able to get more nutrition out of your food and have more energy, right? That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's the whole point of digestion. So if you have IBS type symptoms, right? Alternating constipation, diarrhea, bloating, just stomach aches. It just doesn't feel good in there. Low appetite, all these things. Food stagnation, where you feel like things are getting stuck. You're just like not digesting right. You know when this happens, okay? We know. You can get a very deep sense because you have the vagus nerve communicating right directly from your gut to your brain, okay? Telling you what's going on. You can feel this stuff. So if you have that and you're in the context of a complex chronic health condition, then you are going by a different set of rules than the average person in the population. And what I mean by that is the average person can just have one problem in one system and go, I've got a digestive problem. And they do digestive supplements or digestive treatment. Right? They just skip ahead to stage 2 and then they don't worry about later stages because, that's all they have. Everything's good otherwise. It can work. If you are in this world of complex chronic health conditions, you have problems in all those stages, most likely, right? That's what happens. The whole body's a system of systems, and they start to offset each other and lean on each other. It's really hard when you get to the point of having this rampant inflammation, fatigue, brain fog, all these things, right? You're going to have problems in all these systems, especially if there's been an immune issue for a long time. It just happens. Everything has to bend and compensate to keep you alive. This is where all the symptoms pop out from, right? But that also means that you're less likely to have just some silver bullet digestive treatment work for your digestive issue because it's not a separate issue, right? It's one manifestation within the house of complex chronic inflammatory conditions. It's very, very hard because if we just go for that knee-jerk response of like, okay, it's a digestive problem, I'm going to treat it digestively, right? I'm going to skip to stage 2. Then what happens, oftentimes you can get some short-term relief and then things kind of bottom out after about a month and then you're back to where you started. And after a few rounds of that, trying and failing, a lot of people start to run out of hope. They run out of mojo, right? The morale gets low and that's dangerous. That's really dangerous. So instead of trying and failing a bunch of times, instead consider a larger plan that makes sense and feels right for your body. Okay? It's based on medicine that's thousands of years old. And this isn't stuff they taught in, like when I was going through Eastern Medicine School and the foundational training and coming out with a degree and entering private practice, this wasn't taught, right? This order. This is something that we've developed with mentors and people who are attached to older lineages. And it's something that's being now brought out into the world more. But this is advanced, right? It's very advanced and it's very new, especially in Western society to have this kind of plan. But I will tell you the roots of this go back thousands of years because the human body hasn't changed. Even though we have now all these triggers, right, in our environment from GMO foods to whatever they're spraying out of airplanes in the sky to medical interventions and tiny nanotechnology and all this stuff, right? There's a ton of stuff out there in the environment that we're not contending with. We've got estrogen mimicking chemicals, right? We've got microplastics. We've got a lot of stuff. There's birth control in the water. There's prescription drugs in the water. There's heavy metals everywhere. There's a lot, right? That's new. But the human body and what the human body needs, that hasn't changed. So if you're having digestive issues within the context of a larger health condition, I would urge you, or at least, this isn't medical advice, right? You're an adult, you're responsible. This is a place where I can open up your mind and I can point you in a direction. But I would urge you to consider thinking very holistically. In order to get that little branch tip of digestive issues, you may have to go obliquely, like starting with the immune system. Something to consider. If you're struggling with a health condition, you don't have to do it alone at all. You don't have to stay up late on forums trying to get advice from 100 strangers in a chat room on Facebook or something, right? And just hope and pray that what they suggest works for you. You don't have to be on Dr. Google all night, and you don't have to screw around with specialist after specialist after specialist. I will tell you, we've got a group. It's an international group. It's a free group to join. I run it. This is something that I created, and I really love spending time there. And if this is something that sounds nice to you, something that sounds helpful to you, you'll find the application in the description under this video. You can apply. If your application looks good and like you're a good fit for the group, I'll do my best to get you in there. Again, it's a free group, but we do fill up fast. I keep it capped at 100 to 200 people. It's cozy, but that way I know everybody in there. And when you ask me questions, which you can ask me anything you want in there, and I lend you my perspective, it's personalized because I know who I'm speaking to. Okay, I like it that way. I don't want 10,000 people in there because I want to have it be where I can actually know who I'm talking to. So that happens, but we do fill up. So maybe a month, maybe a couple months of a wait. I'll get you in as soon as I can, hopefully the next monthly cohort, so you're not waiting too long to get into our group. But once you're there, you're surrounded by positive, lovely people. It's an international community. Everybody's in various phases of their healing journey. We're working through the stages in logical order. Everybody's learning how to think and how to troubleshoot and how to listen to their intuition. Even if you're introverted and kind of shy, I think you'd fit in. We have a lot of people like that in the group, and it's a lovely place to be. So that's for you. If it's something you care to do, you'll find the link. In the meantime, you may consider subscribing to this channel. That way you can learn more information like this video instead of scrolling on some social media and getting dopamine that way, or just watching Netflix or something. You could actually teach YouTube to show you videos that help you get your health back, get your life back, right? Wouldn't that be productive and positive? All right, so I hope that helps you. Let's get you feeling better. Cheers.